Hello, welcome to Rebel Base, IGN's weekly Star Wars thingy musher.
If you're a bit superstitious, you might want to turn away, because we're going to talk about today whether or not Star Wars is cursed.
I think it's obvious it is.
Well, that's the end of the video then.
So, end of this segment, please come back next week, email the show, all the usual stuff.
So, this week, something quite scary happened.
Yeah.
Harrison Ford was involved in a pretty bad plane crash.
Yeah.
He was flying a World War II plane around and crashed into a private golf course.
Oh no, is this the start of Indiana Jones 5?
Yeah.
It sounds like from what actually happened, he's a pretty damn good pilot.
Yeah.
Like, it was cutting out, and it's like, in the panic and the stress of that, to navigate and land somewhere safe. It's pretty impressive.
But he's okay, he's recovering well. His son, who's a famous chef, and I didn't know that until the other day, has been tweeting saying that he's on the mend, which is really, really good. But Carrie Fisher this week as well has come out with like a really scary quote that says, "Things happen in threes. I'm about to call Mark Hamill to make sure he's okay. I have a horrid feeling there's a curse going on here." What is funny is that last Sunday, it was raining hard in LA. I was driving to the art store and I got into an accident. It wasn't that serious and I wasn't hurt, but it's the first car accident I've ever had. I drove home and that's when the wheel came off my BMW.
Is anyone else surprised that's the first car accident Carrie Fisher's ever had?
Why? So my assistant told me I could have died if the wheel had come off when I was on the freeway. Then I was watching the news and saw Harrison had his crash. I'm a bit worried it's the curse of Star Wars.
Well, also, Mark Hamill had an accident way back in the day between the first two movies.
Yeah.
He had a bad vehicle accident.
And Harrison Ford had an accident on the set of The Force Awakens. Like, he did something to his ankle, but he was okay. Like,
So what's going on here,
I
Gav?
don't know. Hopefully it's not a curse, because, you know, some famous films have been cursed and a lot of people have died. Let's hope no one dies.
There's a connection here, though, I
Yeah.
think. Max von Sydow is in The Force Awakens.
Okay.
I think he's basically attracted the Exorcist ghost.
Oh,
There's another famously doomed production
kidding?
where people
That's what's
had
happened.
accidents. Yeah, it's basically Pazuzu, which is the demonic entity in The Exorcist. It's actually not Satan. It's a common misconception if you've ever fallen into that trap. But Pazuzu is working his evil ways on The Force Awakens.
And
Or
it's
maybe
all
not.
Max's fault.
Or maybe not. Maybe it's a production involving hundreds of people and probability and chance life intercede to make things go astray.
yeah, that would be...
I don't know.
really
It depends on your perspective.
I mean, I was sort of involved in this curse as well. We went down to have a go on the Star Wars Battlepod, which you'll hear more about later in the show. And I tweeted this picture. It was the morning before the crash, but I tweeted this picture that said, "Totally wrecked up Han Solo this morning like it was nothing, and what?" And then I went to sleep, tweeted that, thinking, yeah, that's cool. That's a cool little tweet I've done.
It's funny, like, because he's really good at flying.
Yeah, and I woke up the next day with loads of notifications on my thing going, "What did you do? What have you done?" And I was like, what are people
You were being
talking
publicly
about?
shamed almost.
I was being publicly shamed. And I wondered what it was. And then I had a look and Harrison Ford was in a crash. And at that point, people didn't know if he was okay or not.
Yeah.
So it was a really scary morning for me. Like, I was probably more scared than Harrison Ford and his family, to be honest. It's probably affected me more than them.
Still haven't deleted it. So
I haven't deleted it because it's a bloody good tweet. So.
speaking of evil, here's Eric again with another recommendation, this time from the dark side.
Thanks very much, guys. You know, this week I thought I'd talk about Star Wars Tarkin. And this was the second of the new series of novels coming out that are all considered official canon, in continuity, and really kind of integral to everything going on in the wider Star Wars universe. And I did not think this book was overall as strong as A New Dawn, which was the first of the books we talked about. But still, if you like this character, and I think a lot of us do, I think it's definitely worth the read. It kind of bogs down in the middle, but you definitely get to know Grand Moff Tarkin in a different way. And I think that they did a very good job of using what we knew of him really just in the original Star Wars movie and making it all work. I mean, here's a guy who seemed to kind of be Darth Vader's boss, but also referred to him as my friend, had some pretty strong feelings on Jedi and the Force. This book really works to kind of integrate all of that, explain who he is, where he came from, and where his philosophies and believing about fear and the different things, the lines, very iconic lines in Star Wars he has, what it was that put that in him. And there's a lot of Vader in the book, and that's kind of cool because it's the relationship between the two of them. It touches upon, did he know who's inside that suit of armor, especially if you watched the Clone Wars and you saw that he and Anakin were friends. A lot of cool stuff there if you like the world of the villains of Star Wars and the Empire. And lastly, I want to say, A lot of people were very upset that the EU, the Expanded Universe, was being done away with and wasn't official at all. This book is one of many ways they're starting to incorporate elements of it. There's a lot of Imperials you meet in this book, and they have very familiar names. I started to look them up because I remember that name. Screed, who's that? Oh, that was the bad guy on Star Wars Droids, the 80s animated series. So there's a lot of stuff like that where they're like, let's take these characters who those old stories might not be official, but now the characters at least are, and we can bring them into this world. So for all those people who, like me, love that minutia of Star Wars and love Tarkin as a villain, I definitely think you should check out this book, Star Wars Tarkin. That's it for now. Thanks a lot, and back to you guys.
Okay, we've just had a go on the Star Wars Battlepod. Krupa, what did you think?
I thought it was really good fun.
Yeah.
So I've played all 5 stages, so the 5 iconic stages from across all the Star Wars original trilogy, from the Death Star to Hoth to Endor to the second Death Star, and then there's kind of this weird alternate mission at the end where it's called Vader's Revenge, which I think actually is my favourite mission.
Yeah, I think it's the best one because it's sort of, it takes you out of the situations that you know and then puts you in control of Darth Vader after Death Star 2 has been destroyed and sort of puts you in control just after. Yeah, he is pissed off.
Yeah, the level starts, and then the reflection of his TIE fighter window, you can just see his face and he's breathing. He's angry. So that's probably the most challenging of the levels.
Yeah, but you also get to destroy the Millennium Falcon. You Han Solo's like death cry.
Which is depressing. But it's really fun. It's kind of more on rails than I imagined. It's based on another Namco thing. It's like a kind of dome dogfighting game. It's more on rails, but the controls, you have an accelerator and you have a joystick with 2 attacks. You've got guns and you've got missiles all the way through. But I was freaking out at the beginning because I thought I had to control where we were going. But it's not. It's more focusing on the actual fighting and shooting.
I think that's what sort of disappointed me about it. It's an amazing experience, but it's more like a ride. You pay £2 and you're having a go on a Star Wars thing. You're seeing some cool Star Wars stuff. You're not actually in control that much. The only one that we didn't do first time was Hoth, and we've only just been able to do that one. It's because it gives you a very, very limited amount of time to do it.
The only thing you can really fail is towards the end of the mission, there's like not a boss encounter, but there's a thing to take down. So on Endor, it's an ATST. On the Death Star, you have to obviously hit your target. And that's the thing where you can lapse into a fail state, and you get an alternate animation, which is kind of interesting because it kind of goes off like, what if you hadn't succeeded? So you get kind of a different take on it.
My favorite animation is right at the end on the Endor mission, and if you get it right, all the Ewoks are like cheering for you and going mad. Yeah, it's awesome.
But still, my favourite thing is hearing Han Solo die.
So that was the Star Wars Battlepod. If you're in London, you can have a go over at Namco's Funscape down on the South Bank, and it's in other arcades all around the world.
Yeah, so if you've had a go, tell us what you thought of it at rebelbase@ign.com. But until next week, for everything on Star Wars, stay right here.